Reporting live from the Big Pond for the first period intermission, I'm Abby Kelso along with Mackenzie Bach and Stephen Cohn, and you're listening to Illini Hockey on WPGU 107.1. Wow, this has been an interesting first period. The Illini are up 5-0. Do you guys think do you think that the Redbirds are going to be able to come back in the second period?
Not with the way they've been playing. The Illinois State Redbirds have been playing too aggressive and have not been playing too strategically, to be honest.
And I just said this towards the end of that first period, but I think Illinois scored 3 of their goals in a 1-minute span, all 5 goals in a 3-minute span. Other than that, it's a 0-0 game. That's the kind of, I don't know if Illinois State's going to come back from a 5-goal deficit. It's kind of extreme, but they got to play with that mentality that for 17 minutes, it was 0-0, and they just had a really bad 3-minute stretch.
And David Heflin has been starting for the first time this weekend. He has not been challenged yet. Do you think that when he is challenged, he'll be able to be up for the point?
I think he's done a nice job all season coming out of the goal. It's just once again, it's a lot of the defensive breakdowns that Illini have had all season, and I don't seem to be seeing that tonight.
Yeah, no, I agree. David Heflin has proven himself throughout this season already. He's a great goaltender, and unless the Illinois State Redbirds can start taking some opportunities in the offensive zone, David Heflin's going to have a good night. The last minute of the first period, he was beginning to get challenged. However, he was broken up after Tim Talty was going to have a breakaway opportunity. Aaron Dusek broke it up and saved David Heflin of another possible shot.
What do you think about the Redbirds changing their goalie in the middle of this first period? Already changing it up, it's kind of insane. It's only the first period, and they've already switched goalies. What do you think that they can do to get the momentum back to the Redbirds? Because they've already changed the goalie here.
I think it was a welcome change to see that they changed goalies. The Illini did this weekend. Hayden, I know he's their starter, when you're down 5-0, you have 5 goals in about 10 minutes in the first period in a hostile environment like this, a sold-out crowd, I think it's a change you need to do, and it paid off for that 7-minute stretch that he came in.
Also, on the other side, the defenseman for the Illini, who do you think has been a standout player for this period for the defenseman for the Illini?
Pilko, just because he's been so offensive-minded, and that's only because he's been able to be. There have not been a lot of defensive plays to be made just because the Illini have kept it in their offensive zone this entire first period.
And I love that choice of Opilka, but I'm going to go with Charlie Salk, who tonight playing as a forward, but usually a defenseman. Great showing by him. Had a goal, his second goal of the season, but also, I don't know, I think we both agree Joey Caprio, the big man, the big defenseman, doesn't get much playing time. He's not the fastest guy on the ice, but able to get a great goal tonight, and that's good for him.
I actually think that Aaron Dusek has been a standout player this period. There was a breakaway opportunity for the Redbirds, and Aaron Dusek pulled out his stick and got in the way before it even got to the net. I think that he's had a standout first period. But other than defense, I think that there have been some chances for another couple of offensemen for the Illini. Who do you think deserves a goal this second period?
You say chances. I'm going to go with a guy named Chance. I'm going to say Chance Homer needs to get a goal. I could always say Eric Cruikshank, and that's what Mackenzie might say. But Chance Homer, he's had a great start to the season the past month and a half, and I'd love to see him get a goal here tonight.
That's a fair choice. I'm actually going to have to go with Eric Salters. I like the way he's been playing today. He's been creating plenty of opportunities, and it's only due time that he's going to score.
Yeah, I think that Luke Forfart deserves another goal. I think that the last game that I watched, he had a chance on the shootout, and he missed for his team, and I think that this period, once again, he has another chance to prove himself that he's a really good player. He did score this last period, but I think he has another chance to prove it again. But what do you think the Illini have improved from their last couple of games in general? This is looking really good, so what do you think they have?
Yeah, absolutely. The Illini are playing very calm and collected. They're not playing aggressive, and they're not initiating fights, which is actually surprising for this Fighting Illini team. But, on this Dad's weekend where they've got to come out and impress their fathers. They've actually played very collected, to my surprise. And so, they've just been playing very strategically, been able to deke the puck around defensemen. And, they've just been playing stellar hockey.
And I completely agree with that point. I'm going to add on to that. I think it just seems like Illinois is playing very slow, very controlled at their pace. They have complete control of this game, and I feel like Illinois State is just playing like the little brother that they often are to University of Illinois. They just don't seem to have anything going for him right now. And Illinois just great passing, not many turnovers, not initiating fights. If the fights, when Wicklund was in the penalty box with me, he was more upset because Illinois State started that fight. He was just defending himself.
I completely agree, and I think another thing that they have worked on is the power kill for the Illini. I think that Eric Cruikshank especially had control of the puck completely when the power kill was going on. He was playing his puck handling super well, and I think that's going really well for the Illini. Also, last game, 3 players were suspended, and including Tommy Abrams, a freshman for the Illini, who was a huge asset. Do you think that they are playing well without him, or do you think they are not utilizing the other players to their fullest potential without him?
Yeah, Tommy Abrams, he's a big guy, and so his presence not being on the ice, it definitely stands out. But, I mean, like I've said, the Illini have been able to keep in the offensive zone, so fortunately tonight, they haven't been in dire need of Tommy Abrams.
He's a big guy. He needs to, duck down to get out of the penalty box. He's that big. He's a monster. Yeah, no, they're missing him tonight. He's a good forward, and you like to see more progression from him in the upcoming seasons. But tonight, obviously, ejected the last night, has to be suspended in this one game. So he'll deal with the consequences of what he did.
But for someone who was actually in, Shaunak Pal is back for a while for his hip flexor. What do you think he's brought to the ice tonight to show that he is really back in action?
Well, Shaunak Pal had an assist at one point in that first period. I forgot who it was that he passed to. Let's see.
It's okay, but either way, he played really well.
He passed to Charlie Salk, and it was a beautiful pass from behind the net that resulted in the score.
Well, thank you both very much for your insight. This has been the first period intermission. I am Abby Calso alongside with Mackenzie Bach and Stephen Cohn. Cristiano and Stephen will have the call in just a few minutes. This has been your Illini Hockey Intermission Report from the University of Illinois Ice Arena.
Illinois wins! Illinois wins! Your home for Illini Hockey. WPGU 107.1.
Reporting live from the Big Pond for the second period intermission, I'm Abby Kelsto alongside Mackenzie Buck and Cristiano Simonetta, and you are listening to Illini Hockey on WPGU 107.1. I know, Cristiano, you hate this word, but do you think that David Heflin will get his shootout tonight?
Well, you messed it up. You mean shutout? So see, you were talking the entire commercial that you were going to jinx it was by saying the word shutout. And see, it's regardless. Yes, I think that David Heflin will be able to end up with a 0 in the goal column against. I'm not going to say that word. I said it once. I'm not going to say it any other time. David Heflin's been playing great tonight. Seb Grimmett-Morris was great last night. The Illini have 3 goaltenders that can go against any team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it all. They're studs. We have stud goaltenders, and well, I shouldn't say we. I should say the Fighting Illini. But I mean, yeah, they're defensively they're terrific.
If you were head coach Nick Fabrini, would you start to take out some of your starters and play some people that haven't been able to play lately, or would you stick with your team and let them kind of show off for the rest of the game?
Sure, yeah, of course. Why not? I mean, when you're up 7-0, let some other guys get some ice time.
Mackenzie, I agree with you to a degree. I think that the Illini should play their starters and keep them with their foot on the gas for possibly the first 7 minutes of the period. But that's a great question to ask, Abby, because Illinois State isn't exactly the cleanest team. And these two teams, when they play each other, it's a rivalry. 58 penalty minutes in their first game they faced against each other in Bloomington. So this team, there's a lot of theatrics, there's a lot of intensity, there's a lot of penalty minutes.
I completely agree with both of you, although I do think that some people are going to stand out in the next period. I think that a couple people are going to get to stand up and get a chance to score more than they have recently. I think that maybe even Stephen Quinn, people who haven't had a chance to play to their fullest extent, are going to get a chance this next period. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to stand up?
Well, I agree. No, I mean, I think Quinn has definitely been getting some puck possession and some puck time. And I think, if a player that doesn't usually get ice time was to score tonight in this third period, I think it would build his confidence for, later in the future when, the team really needs it.
Yeah, the fourth line of the Illini, Michael Buteris, Stephen Quinn, and Andrew Wicklund, they've been buzzing tonight. They don't have any goals so far throughout this hockey game, but Wicklund had a great game last night. Stephen Quinn, the Naperville, Illinois native, has no goals on the season. Maybe look for number 7 to break through.
Let's not forget about Butera getting stopped at the goal line.
Yeah, he's had an impressive game, too. Michael Butera, 2 games played, no points. He's trying to get on the score sheet, and he's done a great job of playing the way Nick Fabrini preaches.
Exactly, and Captain Joey Rittendale actually stepped up and had an assist this past period, and I think that that's just another improvement that we can talk about here, too. But on the side, if you were coach Mark Dart, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that right, but head coach for the Illinois State, what are you telling your players with a 7-0 lead for the Illini?
Finish every hit. I mean, this game, I've seen some very crazy things covering college hockey and at the professional level, but 7-0 in one period, that's going to be a steep price to pay against the Illini in this building. Keep the intensity up, and I say, hey, if he's got the puck on his stick, with his head down, you run him cleanly. You don't go after head contact, but you need to make a statement some way if Illinois State wants to keep their dignity here.
That is a fair point, Cristiano. However, I disagree. The first period, Illinois State was very scrappy, and it did not work out to their advantage. In this second period, however, I noticed that Illinois State was playing more composed. And in this first half of the period, in the second period, they had a lot of puck possession. You saw in the first 30 seconds of the game, there was 2 turnovers by the Fighting Illini. So I definitely don't think that aggression is the way they want to go with this.
Well, that's why we're not Michael Marquardt in between the benches, and that's why we're up here talking about the game. So 2 differing...
One can dream.
One can dream. 2 differing perspectives. Let's see if yours pans out in the third.
Do you guys think that the Illinois State goalie is giving up too many rebounds for the Illini?
I think he has, but I think Wazalewski has done a great job of keeping the pucks in front of him. You never want to push rebounds out to the right or to the left because that's going to give you a chance. The first goal in this second period scored by Eric Cruikshank was an example of that. He pushed the rebound to the right incorrectly, and Cruikshank had a tap in, but I think he's been handling his own. He's getting peppered with shots, and what can you do as a goaltender? He's been doing everything right, in my opinion, to keep this game from becoming a bigger laughingstock than it is.
Absolutely. Keep the puck in front of you and make sure that you're able to see it. The second goal that he allowed, James McGingan, was a wraparound from behind. So, it was definitely something he couldn't see. And had trouble stopping, obviously.
Do you think this momentum is going to get carried over to next weekend, or do you think it's just this team? Do you think this team, Illinois State, has gotten them back from their losing streak? Do you think this will carry on?
I think it will. They're coming up against 2 divisional opponents in the next 2 weeks, both on the road against Lindenwood Lions and the Ohio Bobcats. Nick Fabrini told me before the game they want at least a split. 2 games that they win and possibly 2 that they lose. This momentum, this creativity that we're witnessing tonight will definitely carry over, but they have to realize those 2 teams are ranked higher than them, and you're not going to be able to get away with some fancy dekes and dazzling maneuvers like they have tonight.
I agree, and I've noticed in the latter half of the second period, the Fighting Illini were getting a little more creative with their offense. They were pulling a little fancy moves off, and it's like a scrimmage for them. It's almost like they're practicing tonight at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, go on.
Sorry, I think it's just super interesting to see the difference between playing Iowa State and Illinois State this weekend. I think the things that they had to do last weekend was completely different than what they have to do this weekend. They can show off their talent a little bit more and not play as much defense and kind of control the puck and show what they're made of this weekend.
But I think that comes with a discrepancy in skill level, and we're not knocking Illinois State. Illinois State beat the Illini last year, so it's not like these teams are separated by such a chasm of skill. It's not that. Iowa State, the number 2 team in the nation, just plays a different game plan. They're focused on puck possession. They're focused on being first to the puck on every dump-in, finishing every check, while Illinois State is more of the freewheeling, open ice kind of setting up the offense and the defense. I think that's just the difference. I think the Illini have prepared for these 2 games well. They've gotten the job done. They're just 20 minutes away from sweeping the weekend.
Now, actually, Cristiano, you just said that the Illinois State Redbirds had, beaten the Fighting Illini last year.
Yeah.
And I ask you because you were here last year. Have the Redbirds had any star players graduate last year?
Yes, Parker Johnson, who led the team in points last season, graduated last year. But Joey Bauer, who led the team last year in the number 2 department, he's number 2 on the team in points. He's still here. The same pieces are there. We look at the Illini. John Olin graduated last year, a leader for the Illini, who wore the C on his chest. it's always going to be a rotating lineup, but the game plan's going to stay the same way. And Illinois State, when they're on top of their game, can really challenge Illinois. They only beat, Illinois did, they defeated the Redbirds 3-2 in overtime in the game they played against Bloomington. These teams aren't that different from one another. They've just been the Illini executing better.
Unfortunately, I have to cut you both off. Thank you both very much for insight. And I'm Abby Calsto alongside Mackenzie Bach and Cristiano Seminata. Cristiano and Steven will have the call in just a few minutes. This has been your second intermission for the Illini Hockey Report from the University of Illinois Ice Arena.